All right, I think we're live. Hello, my dear friends. Happy Thursday. And we are almost at the end of the week. And today is day 15. And it's pretty late here. And yeah, almost went through today without getting my video done. But I am working and sticking with consistency. So today's message, it's a little bit heavy, made me feel kind of emotional today. I was thinking about it and how I wanted to share it with you guys. And so, again, my name's Christine, and I'm a grateful person in recovery. If you don't know my story, just real quick, I struggled with an addiction to prescription pills. I tried my first pain pill when I was 23, something like that. And I had known about, hardcore drugs like heroin and cocaine and, say no to drugs. I knew all that. But no one had ever had a discussion with me about the dangers of prescription pills. I mean, they're not bad in itself. They do help with, legitimate medical issues. However, they can be extremely addictive. And so the first time I took my the first pain pill I tried, it gave me confidence. And I felt like I could finally be me. I could finally, not be the shy, introverted little girl that I was. And so, addiction, and so I got, eventually I became extremely addicted to them. And addiction is a progressive disease. If you don't get help for it, it just, before you know it, the consequences start happening. So for me, in the beginning, first of all, I got addicted, so I had to figure out ways to be able to be resourceful and to figure out ways to get it and to lie, and it just literally became a second job. And then it started affecting my health, and ended up experiencing depression, anxiety, and insomnia. It was just affecting me while I was trying to work, and then it affected my marriage and relationships with others and my family. And you would think that as each thing gets worse and worse and there's more consequences and they start adding up, you would think, hey, this is really getting out of hand and it needs to stop. And so I knew within a weeks after taking my first pain pill, I knew I had a problem. And I'll never forget, I had this really sweet doctor, and I remember going to see her for checkups, and I just was like, man, I want to tell her because I don't want this to get worse. And it really came down to shame and guilt. That's what kept me stuck. And you guys, I struggled with addiction for 15 years. 15 years. And, really, it was my pride and my ego that got in the way. And I, put on a happy smile like this. Everything's fine. I didn't want to tell anybody my dark secret. I grew up, I had a good childhood, not really much trauma. So how did this happen? Like, when there's no history of it in my family. So yeah, it's like, why did this happen? So anyways, I was just a very long story, kept short for the sake of this video. My addiction progressed and progressed and progressed because I continued to not lay aside my pride and ego, and the shame and guilt kept me stuck. And it kept me stuck, and it finally progressed to the point where I was in and out of treatment centers, detoxes, doctor's offices, and the last straw was I went to the last treatment center I went to. It was a 30-day inpatient rehab facility, and while I was there, or 4 days before I was to graduate from this program and go home and somehow pick up the pieces and start over, a sheriff came to visit me, and he handed me divorce papers from my husband, and also ultimately I lost custody of my boys. My husband had full custody of them. And just as a mom, that was just the most devastating thing that happened to me. I mean, I overdosed many times. I almost lost my life, and you would think that would cause me to want to change. And I really did. I really did want to change. And I tried many times, and it was just so hard. I was stuck in the vicious cycle. So anyway, I came across a picture, and I'll share it with you here in a second. But when I got out of this treatment center and basically had to start over, I stayed with my mom for a while till I could get on my feet, and then just figure out next steps, and getting a job, getting a place, and the next steps on how do I see my kids again. That's all I wanted. And so I'll never forget, I remember having to see them at the CPS office here where I live. That was awful. And then we were able to set up a schedule where I could see them, I don't remember how many times a week, but a certain amount of times per week with supervision. So a friend of mine took me, because I didn't have a car at the time, and this person took me to go where I could see my kids, and I spent a few hours with them. And my kids my boys were 4 and 2 at the time. And before I left to get back in the car and go back to the place I was staying at, my 4-year-old came up to me and he gave me a big hug. And he held on to me for a really, really long time. And I have this picture, and I came across it today, and whew, a lot of emotions. It was heavy. So I was trying to figure out how to share my screen on a Facebook Live. Haven't figured that out yet. Not sure if you can even, I know you can share your screen, but I don't think you can do it while having the video on a view. And anyway, so here's a picture. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'll put it right up to the camera. Okay, there we go. So my friend took this picture right before I was leaving, and this is me in my 40s. This is me and my son, who was 4 at the time, and he just didn't want to let go. He missed his mommy, And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you felt hopeless and just stuck in shame and guilt and wondering how did this happen? Whew, okay, let me. Okay. So, for those of you who have been in a place, maybe it wasn't exactly like what I experienced, or maybe you have. I talk to a lot of people every day that have been in that situation, and looking back, it's like I wish so bad that I had not let it get so bad to where something like that happened, where I lost custody of my kids. And it's just like, I just want to say this. I want to say that you don't have to wait until it gets that bad or before you hit rock bottom to ask for help. My friends, asking for help is a sign of strength and not weakness. When I, in my 20s, before I had kids, and I was addicted to pain pills, and I was able to manage. I was able to work, and I was even a fitness competitor, and I was on the outside, everything looked perfect. And this is the truth, though. This is the truth. At the end of the day, losing my kids, losing custody of my kids, it finally became painful enough to change. It finally became painful enough to change. And it's only by God's grace and mercy that I'm alive and not 6 feet under. It's a miracle that I'm a mom and my kids are back in my life now, and I love it, and life is so great with them, and thank God it ended up the happy story. My husband and I reconciling and getting remarried, and my family's back together now. Shoot. Now I have a picture around here somewhere. Yeah, hang on one second. I'm going to share this with you. So, I got these two here on my desk. I've got more, but I'll share these with you today. So my message is, first of all, if you're going through something and there's a shame and the guilt are keeping you stuck, I get it. You're not alone. I've been there, and my encouragement to you is to lay aside the pride, the ego, and ask for help before it gets to a point where you can't ask for help because you're no longer here, or because the consequences are so awful. Losing everything. Don't let it get to that point. But even if it does get to that point, you still have the opportunity to ask for help. So in your dream, in your goal, in this new habit you want to create, asking for help is one of the best things you can do. It's one of the best things you can do. Find someone that is doing what you want to do, who is 10 steps ahead of you, and they're successful in what they're doing, and ask them. hey, can I talk to you for a second? Do you mind if I, take you out for a cup of coffee? I did that. And I was just shocked at how so many people were just so like open and like they said, yeah, sure, I would love to share. And it was amazing to me. So, anyways, let me wrap this up. When I finally made the decision to surrender, because it got so painful, and made the decision, enough was enough, I was going to make a change. I was going to get my kids back. And because of that decision, and because of the consistency, which I've been talking about a lot, consistency of showing up day after day after day after day, going to meetings, seeing my counselor, just going through so much therapy and just getting my life back together and asking God for help and guidance. And because of his grace and mercy, let me share this picture here. That's my son and I. Beautiful, isn't it? I love this picture. I stare at it all the time. And it just reminds me. It reminds me that God is good. That so much grace and mercy that I didn't deserve. And that the work and the consistency is worth it. It's worth it.
I love you.
Oh, thanks, honey. Oh, are you watching my live?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Love you.
Wasn't expecting that. Y'all are gonna make me cry. Oh, well, I guess I don't have to show you pictures. I promise you, I was not planning that. I was not planning that, but they did know I was coming in here to do my daily video. So there you go. Oh, wow. So don't give up. Don't give up, my friends. Don't give up. Asking for help is a sign of strength and not weakness. Wow. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. And give this video a like, a comment, share this out. Because I know someone needs to hear this. There's so many that I talk to every day who feel hopeless. And I remember I was there. I was hopeless for a long time. But you guys just saw. Asking for help, surrendering and doing the work and showing up and being consistent and giving. So beautiful what can happen. So beautiful. All right. Have a great night. Love you guys.